Boo. That's our intro. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Ep.4. We're all going to hold our mics tonight. It's weird. We kind of want to chill a little bit more. So yeah, we're doing that. We figured audio would be a little bit better. But tonight, guys, we want to talk about resistance training, strength training. We've dove off into nutrition a few episodes before. So tonight, I think we're going to give you our thoughts on that and kind of, hey, how can you make some gains in the gym, whether that be with some dumbbells, with some barbells? What is the difference between power and strength and hypertrophy, and what do all those things mean to us? And maybe you can take a few nuggets away from that tonight. So Cody, kick us off, boys. Joseph, can we all give a round of applause for Joseph's haircut real quick? Like, it looks phenomenal, y'all.
Put it in the comments how good looking I am. No big
great looking. Yeah, I feel like your haircuts last like 3 days and then they're gone. Besides the point, Cody, school us a little bit on like the differences of the phases of strength and what they mean to people and us and coaches.
Yeah. I mean, I think we could start just by saying that what strength training or resistance training means to different people can probably be very different. Something I've heard over the years is strength training and resistance training is almost used synonymously. So like they're the same exact thing. And maybe this is the semantic snotty trainer in me, but I would consider resistance training as a very broad category. And that category could include really just using any type of resistance, bands, bells, barbells, chains, you name it, gravity, what'd you say, Joseph? Eggs?
Chains, baby, chains,
cables. I mean, it can be anything. You're using
bands,
that external force or resistance to create changes in the body. And so that's the very broad category. When you start breaking that down, then you can start getting into like, maybe we're doing some like muscular endurance training. We're doing hypertrophy. That's fancy trainer talk for making a muscle bigger. You do strength training, and that is a muscle that produces more force or power. Like there's different categories that you can focus on within resistance training. So I think that'd be one of the first things that we probably talk about is strength training does not necessarily equal resistance training and vice versa.
Yeah, they all mean totally different things. Just because you get stronger doesn't mean you're going to look any different, right? Literature says it takes somewhere between 6 to 8 weeks for neurological adaptations to happen before any sort of muscle growth happens. So I use this analogy often with some of my clients who are maybe very entry level into strength training. They're kind of getting into it. Take a little kid, right? He starts to ride a bike, and at the beginning he's terrible, right? And then in 4 weeks, he's better. 5 weeks, he's a lot better. 6 to 8 weeks, he's riding the bike. Did he get better at riding the bike because he got stronger? No, he got better because he learned the movement. He learned how to ride a bike. So a lot of people, when they jump into the gym and they haven't been in the gym for a long time and they're 4 to 6 to 8 weeks into a program, like sure, you might see a little bit of progress as far as size and all that, but everything that you're gaining in that gym at that time is your brain learning the movement. And I see this often with some of the young athletes that I train is I'll get them on a movement. Let's just say bench press, right? And they're 16 years old and they've never bench pressed before in their life. And they just get the bar and they're on there. They look like a baby deer trying to stand up. Like that bar is all over the place, right? And they're strong enough to lift it, but their brain is firing a million times a minute trying to stabilize that bar and get stronger. Well, then in 2 or 3 weeks, bar is easy, couple plates is easy, little plates, not big plates. And then it's like, oh my God, Tyler,
I want your training program.
For real, sign me up.
4 weeks in, we're like busting out 2 wheels aside, boys, as a 16-year-old. But yeah, it's learning to ride a bike. And a lot of people, as sad as it is, will go to a gym and not even make it past 8 weeks of learning how to ride a bike. It's like, man, 8 weeks is, do the math, Joseph, 2 months. And so if you can't spend 2 months in the gym learning how to ride a bike, good luck trying to get through any sort of resistance, hypertrophy, strength training program. I know, Joseph, you do the same thing with your clients? Like, what do you see the most as far as learning in strength with your people?
Well, it's funny that you say that, because I always have, like, we have this conversation with running a lot, and people get it, right? Like, if you want to get better at running, guess what? You got to go run. If you want to get better at benching, squatting, deadlifting, pull-ups, guess what you got to go do? Bench press, squat, deadlift, pull up, right? Like,
For sure.
like, yes, you can go build the muscles other ways, but you're not going to learn the movement. And so I love getting new clients. And that's the first thing that I talk about is, hey, your brain just got to figure out what we're doing. And it's going to be awkward. It's going to be shaky. And then everything's going a million miles a minute. So that's where kind of some of that nauseousness probably comes from as well in the beginning, and everything will settle down. But then again, if using the kid analogy, think about how excited they are to ride the bike in the beginning, right? They're probably riding the bike every day for hours and hours and hours. When you start a strength training program, if you can only designate 1 day a week, it might not be enough, right? It's a great starting point, but we have to level up, right? There's just not enough time for you to put into all of the movements that we want to learn. And if you have a great strength coach, hopefully you're doing more than 1 day a week at the gym, hopefully they're breaking up body parts and movement patterns so you're not overly sore, overly exhausting a muscle or a joint. And so that's always exciting to talk to people about, like, hey, I know right now that you're wobbly and you look like Bambi. It's not going to be that way forever, I promise.
We talk about that often. You just spurred like one thought in my head, Joseph, about a fad. And I think Cody might be thinking, are you thinking lactic acid right now, Cody? Are you not?
Muscle confusion.
Oh, muscle confusion. I'll let you hit on that in a second. Let's talk about this for a second, y'all. Like, how often do we see like people posting
about to go down a
it?
rabbit hole? I can't wait.
Yeah, people posting about it, trainers talking about it, clients talking about it, whatever. That, I'm so sore, I got to get the lactic acid out of me. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you still have lactic acid in you the next day, we have a major problem on our hands.
You go to the doctor.
you should go to the doctor right away, because the lactic acid is gone very quickly.
So real quick, before
go ahead,
hold your thought. Don't lose it.
It's here.
If you really want to test, so lactic acid is technically like this burning sensation. Like, do 20 squats, your legs are on fire. Start a timer and then shake out your legs. And when the burning stops, the lactic acid is pretty much gone. Right. And so that's kind of how you can figure out, like, okay, it only took a minute or two probably for most of that stiffness, soreness, burning to kind of get out of the way. Heart rate comes down, respiration rate comes down. And so I hope you're not in bed that night and your legs are still on fire and they're like cramping and stuff like that. So I always kind of try to use that example as well. So continue.
Sidebar of a sidebar, because I have to. Have y'all ever done a Wingate before? You know what a Wingate is? So Wingate is, we did this in college. I was part of this study the exercise science department was doing, and they brought in all the soccer players and football players, stuff like that. Wingate is measuring lactic acid threshold. So you hop on a stationary bike, it measures power output, all that. So you hop on the bike and you pedal, you find a constant pace for 1 minute. Don't know how many rotations it'd be per minute. Let's just call it, for sake of numbers, like, I don't know, 120, right? 150, whatever it is. And you're just constantly pedaling for 1 minute. When the timer hits 1 minute, you pedal as hard as you possibly can. I think it's for 1 minute. And the resistance of the bike slowly increases until there's no more power output. So it's measuring power output over an extended period of time, how much over the extended period of, like, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, your power output should increase over time. So then your lactic acid threshold is getting better, meaning you're able to power longer and further. It's the worst thing I've ever done in my entire life. It is.
Don't sign me up for that. Nope. Immediately no.
Dude, first time I did it, they know what they're doing. Those exercise, the guys, yes, they're in there and they know this is about to be terrible. So they sneak a little bucket, a little trash can next to the bike because they know what's coming. And so you get off, you immediately hit the floor, your legs are numb. Next thing you know, your body, that rush of lactic acid, like, I didn't throw up. I thought I was going to have to. So I got done. I walked out to my car, and this was before an 8 o'clock class. This was like at 7:15 in the morning. I was going to go shower, go to class. I did not go to class that day.
That's how messed up you were.
Yo, I did not go to class at all. I was like, okay, I'll miss 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. That's fine. Mom, I'm sorry. I did not go to class at all that day. I literally laid in bed till like 10, 11, and then and I was like in decently good shape. I mean, it wasn't in the middle of soccer season, but I was in college playing soccer. I was not out of shape when I did this, and it rocked my world.
This is interesting though. This comes full circle. Check this out. You
Horrible.
were in the middle of soccer season and you had a lot of specificity in running.
Yeah.
And not cycling.
And not bike riding.
Not bike riding.
I would love to see a cyclist get on there and see like what they did. Because I mean, playing soccer, I feel like my legs were probably really strong. I feel like I was in really good shape, cardiovascular wise, VO2 wise, all that stuff. I feel like even my lactic acid threshold should probably be pretty high from sprinting and running around for 90 minutes a game. But y'all,
I would say your whole body's ability to process lactic acid is really good because you're a full body sport, running, pumping arms and stuff like that. When you put all the resistance in your legs, your poor little quads, hamstrings, glutes are like overload.
Dude,
Help.
what was wild is when you got off, you could literally just feel the rush of everything going through your body. And it was like this out of body experience because they're sitting there and they're cheering you on because they want the output as high as they possibly can. And you really don't really know what's coming. The problem with that study, though, is when you test out or every time you test, you know what's coming. So what is the RPE of trial 2, 3, and 4? Trial 1 is probably 10. Trial 2 is 8, then 6, and then 4, because I didn't feel near as bad. The subsequent trials after that, it was terrible. That being said, coming out of that rabbit hole into the other one that we were in, lactic acid was gone out of my legs very quickly. After that Wingate, it was probably gone by very soon when I got home. But doesn't mean I wasn't dead tired, right? And I didn't not go to class because of the lactic acid, right? I went because I was just exhausted. I feel like, and Cody, maybe you can talk to this. I feel like my CNS, my central nervous system, is fried. I feel like I needed a new one. I feel like I needed a chip to be taken out of my head that day and a new one to be put back in because it was scrambled eggs up there. Oatmeal.
Yeah, Cody, talk about the load on the central nervous system, because I feel like not like nerdy talk, right? But just I feel like when people strength train, they're just like, oh, my muscles hurt, but we don't really think about how taxed your nervous system is and why rest days are important and things like that.
Oh gosh, there's a million different ways we could probably go with this, but to keep things high level, the one thing that I would say, probably the most valuable thing that we could say, and this goes beyond just the nervous system, but we only make progress from the workouts we recover from. What that means is you can crush yourself 6, 7, do 10 workouts a week, just destroy yourself. If you're not sleeping great, if you're not hydrated, if you're not eating well, if the other stressors in your life are just off the charts and overbearing, like you're going to see what we would call maladaptations. Like you're going to move backwards. You're going to start feeling crummy and achy and increase your risk of injury. In the gym for resistance training, or more specifically, if we're strength training, thinking about how fried, like Tyler said, how fried your central nervous system gets. One, you can outsource that to a coach, right? That's our job. But the goal is we want to produce or provide like enough of a training stimulus, and we want to stress your nervous system enough to the point where like change occurs, but not overdo it to the point where like you don't move around for the next 48 hours. More specifically than that, like you can think of like really big compound movements. So think of like your big squat, your deadlifts, your exercises where there's multiple joints, a lot of muscles moving, especially under heavy loads, whatever that means for the individual. Those will have a higher demand on your nervous system than something like a bicep curl or a calf raise or a tricep extension. I wouldn't expect like just a general population person to kind of figure out, oh, how do I like manage my stress and my central nervous system fatigue and whatnot versus my peripheral fatigue. Like I wouldn't spend your time focusing on that, but more is not always better.
No.
Yeah. Just, I like to talk to that a lot about, like, really, you got to understand that exercise is a stress on your body, and it's a negative stress. Almost we're tearing muscle fibers, we're stressing joints, ligaments, tendons, all your nervous system. And so what you said in the beginning was just huge. You have to recover to make benefits and to make the results and the progress that you want. You can't just beat yourself up. That's why we don't do leg day every day. Tyler probably does, but not anybody else.
Nope.
Right. So that's like, we have to recover. And so more is not always better. Cody's favorite word is minimal effective dose, right? Like
It is.
what is the
I need to look that up. Minimal effective dose. Cause I'm looking for it.
I have two favorite words: minimum effective dose. That's like on one side.
Can I guess your other one?
On the other side is maximum recoverable volume.
Oh, maximum recoverable volume.
And I love hanging out in between those two places because
Yeah,
that's where we make progress, man.
That's a great. I have a question for both of y'all because this is a conversation I get in, call it elevator chat with friends, family, other people that work out, and they say, it's not exactly like how many days, like I get where I'm going with this is I get asked all the time, what's your split? What should I do? And I'm like, well, that means nothing to you. Like, how many days do you have to work out? And they're like 3, 4. And I'm like, well, then my split means nothing to you. So what are y'all's thoughts on splits for like Gen Pop, people that can make it 3 days a week, 4 days a week at max? Because to me, if you can only make 3 or 4 days a week, I could care less about your split. I almost want full body every single time, maybe a full upper, maybe a full lower, couple times a week that's eliciting responses. Are you a little bit sore? Are you not sore? Another conversation we get into, but like, what do y'all think about splits for Gen Pop and what you do with your clients? Because mine with my clients, Cody and Joseph, is like, it's almost full body every single time. It's like 70% upper body, 30% lower, or 70% lower, 30% upper, based on how many times I see them per week, because most people that I train are 2 to 3 times a week.
Tyler, Joseph, what is a split? This is a move that a gymnast does, correct? Or a cheerleader?
It's where you split your legs.
I do not
What's
do
a split?
4 to
What's a
5 splits a week. I can't do 4 to 5 splits a week because I can't even do the splits.
Yeah. So Tyler's thrown out 2 words that people probably don't know. One was wheels on the bar, and that is a 45-pound plate. He said 2 wheels, and I'm sure
such a bro.
I'm sure everyone was like, "What is
bro?
You put like a tire on a bar?" So that's a 45-pound plate at the gym. You put that. We call those wheels. Anything less than that, just get off the machine and move on. Just kidding. And then a split, right? So your workout split. So what are you gonna, if you have Monday, Wednesday, Friday, that's your workout split. You got a 3-day split. And what do you do during your Monday, Wednesday, Friday workout? I think it's 2 things. It's the frequency of what you're working out, and then what are you working out? So that would combine and create a split. And so kind of Tyler said, hey, I think the average Gen Pop is probably working out 3 times a week, 4 times a week. So doing mostly full body, and it could be disproportional, like Tyler said, 70-30 upper to lower, 70-30 lower to upper, or just full body the entire time. And so I'll kind of go, so with my clients, I'll do either route. I'll do full body every time. Or if I'm seeing them 3 times a week, I'll do upper body, lower body, full body, upper body, lower body, full body. So kind of either way, we're doing full body every single time, or we're doing upper body one day, lower body the next day. And it's full upper body. It's push, pull, compound movements, simple movements. And then all lower body could be squats, deadlifts, hamstring curls, leg extensions, calf raises, right? All that good stuff. And then a full body day. And sometimes depending on the goal. So are we more just, I've got weight to lose, I'm trying to just get in here and sweat as much as possible. It might be like a circuit type full body workout, or if we're more strength focused, or more like, hey, I really want to see my numbers increase, and it might just be more sets and reps, right?
I like that. Cody, what do you do? What's your overall feeling? And it probably changes. Like, I have this guy, we're doing a little bit more split type stuff. This gal, we're doing full body type stuff. This guy, 70-30. So it's kind of all over the place with me and mine.
I mean, that's where I would start answering it is 2 things. One, like, how many days do they have available to actually train? Like, that's going to be one of the biggest determining factors. And then, like, what do they prefer? What do they enjoy doing? Because if I have somebody that's like, hey, I want to train with you, but I walk a lot and I don't want to train legs because I walk a lot. Cool. We're doing upper body. We're not gonna do lower body because that's your preference. Now I might let them know what the pros and cons of that are, and then they can make a more informed choice. But yeah, like, how many days per week can they actually train? If I'm training somebody 3 times per week or less, So that's one time a week, 2 times a week, or 3 times a week. We're probably going to go full body. And like you mentioned, Tyler, like we might shift a focus upper, lower, or more squat versus hinge on one day, and more pull versus press on another day. But full body for 3 days or less. And then once we get into like 4 days, which is kind of rare, we can start doing upper, lower. Kind of like what Joseph said, you can do like a push pull leg full body. Something that we should probably talk about is like why are we trying to organize our training throughout the week? And ultimately the goal is, when we talk about exercises like stress, we want to dose this stress in a way that we can recover from it. And so like frequent doses throughout the week is good. Now, if somebody only trains, let's just say chest on Monday, because Monday is International Chest Day, right? Yep.
I right hand the Bible, do chest every Monday.
That's right.
Why not?
If we only do chest on Monday and then we wait a whole week,
that's weird.
Chest
it's
again,
weird. It's weird.
Then we're like missing out on dosing another stress dose for that movement pattern or that body part or group of muscles. So that's why you want to like divvy things up kind of evenly throughout the week is dosing and frequency and whatnot.
2 things we hear often, gentlemen, y'all's answer: is soreness a good indicator of a workout? 1, and 2, can you work out a sore muscle? Because I get all the time, like, oh man, I'm sore. That was a great workout. Whatever, maybe. Or my chest is a little sore. Can't touch it today. I hear that so often. Thoughts go.
I'm trying to make sure you can't walk out of the gym. I'm just kidding. However,
if you don't use a wheelchair and the ADA approved ramp, we were unsuccessful.
I have a bar in my house next to the toilet so that I can get up and down every day.
Perfect. That's a good workout right there. Yeah. So two parts on the first part, like is soreness a good indicator? Soreness an indicator of a good workout? If you're new to the gym and you're new to exercise, you are going to be sore. Okay?
It's impossible not to.
There's no way around it, right? As you progress, hopefully you're getting less sore. Okay, hopefully. And then also depending on like your intensity for that day and your load on each muscle group, right? Maybe it was just a heavy push day, so your chest, shoulders, and triceps are just really smoked, right? That might be more sore than if we did push and pull on the same workout, right? And so kind of thinking about training intensity, time under tension on the load, where we high rep, low weight, where we high weight, low rep, like all those things play a role in your soreness. However, if you feel like you're not sore, so therefore you had a bad workout, that is also not true, right? And so don't search for muscle soreness, but if it happens, it's probably just because we stress the muscle more so than we have previously, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's not necessarily what you should not, like, again, if you're walking out of the gym, if you're rolling out of the gym in a wheelchair, you probably went a little too crazy.
I learned this a long time ago, and I can't remember what strength coach I heard it from, but it was always leave the gym with a little bit like left in the tank, with a little bit left in the tank, as if you feel like you can maybe still go. Now that's you learning what that actually is, right? But it's kind of changed my world over the past, probably 7-8 years. I heard that. And there's some days you want to go in there. It's like, I'm just feeling it today. Like I'm ready to just rip it and like go out. I walk out of there and there's nothing left in the tank. That happens 5% of the time. Right. But for 95% of the time, I'm like, all right, I'm done. I got stuff to do.
But also I like to talk about different exercises. So like, let's say you have I have a leg day, right? Cody loves to comment on my leg day posts, right? And then let's say I go work out with Tyler and his leg day exercises are completely different than the ones that I do,
yes.
Right? Maybe I'm lunge heavy and Tyler's squat heavy. If I go work out with Tyler and I crush squats and I don't normally crush squats, I'm going to be more sore from Tyler's leg day than my normal leg day. And it doesn't necessarily mean that my leg days stink or Tyler's is great. It was just different. And it was a different movement pattern that we stressed a lot of that I wasn't used to. So the soreness is going to increase as well.
Okay. So follow-up question on this for people listening. What is soreness? Is it that Tyler, is it that lactic acid? Is it the Bernie burns in the muscles?
You are not sore. You're not sore.
And then what are the things that predominantly are responsible for making us sore? Joseph, you were just talking about it, but can you expand, gentlemen? What is soreness and
it's microfibril tears, right? Like you're literally tearing your muscle apart.
It's not the lactic acid that's just pooling in my muscle and hanging out there.
Yeah. So fun fact, audience, if you're just listening and you're not a trainer, hypertrophy is the actual growth size of a muscle fiber. It goes this big to this big to this big. We don't actually make more fibers. That's called hyperplasia. Normally seen in animals and dogs. It's seen in very, very small populations and bodybuilders that do a lot of enhancements. But
growth
that's
hormones
really,
specifically.
We're not actually growing more fibers. We're making them larger, the surface area larger. So the next day you're not sore because of lactic acid. You're sore because you just tore your muscles apart and they're damaged.
It's literally like spraining your ankle minimally over and over and over again. Like when you sprain your ankle,
literally,
like that's literally what it is. Like you sprain your ankle, you partially, tear or stretch a ligament. And so we sprain joints, we strain muscles. So sprain and strain. However, we're pretty much spraining our ankle over and over and over in the gym. And so if you sprained your ankle for real, you would be hurting and sore and stuff like that. And so that's why I try to explain, like, hey, this is like exercise is a stress and things are happening. And to caveat the tears, well, what happens when you sprain your ankle? It swells. So your body and your muscles are actually in a small state of inflammation, right? And so that also causes some uncomfortability, some stiffness, some soreness as well. So it's the tears that we're actually tearing the muscle fiber, and how we put proteins back into our body helps build the muscle fiber back up. But then also trying to keep that inflammation down to a minimum as well. But that inflammation causes some issues.
So what are some things, and I'm fishing here, what are some things that we would do in a workout, in the gym, whatever, that are commonly known to create soreness? Joseph, you mentioned earlier that doing something like new or like a novel training stimulus, if you're new to exercise, you've never worked out before, exercise is new, right? We don't be sore. What are some other things that will make us sore?
More reps, more weight, different load.
Overload.
Eccentric loading.
So
you were searching for that.
Yeah.
Concentric. Is it concentric, concentric? Wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable.
So fun fact, the tear actually happens in the eccentric phase, which is what a lot of people don't understand. So as you see, whoever's working out go really fast on the downward phase, you're missing the most important part of the lift. So time under tension is a huge proponent in the eccentric phase. Power is the concentric phase. How fast can we shorten the muscle? That's power. And power and hypertrophy aren't 100% correlated. They do play a role together. However, if you're trying to be a power lifter or a bodybuilder, those two training styles are completely different. Bodybuilders are time under tension, just whatever, it's partial reps, it's pause reps, it's whatever the case may be, focusing on the eccentric phase mostly. Power lifters focus on the concentric phase mostly. Two different types of training.
Triphasic training.
Something that I would add is, and man, we see this a lot on Instagram, and we see a lot of trainers utilize this as it's like the hard hammer, and like you want to hit everything with the hard hammer, plyometrics. And there is generally like a heavy or higher intensity eccentric portion of that. So think about like if you jump and you land and you decelerate, that's the eccentric portion. So that can really make people quite sore. But I feel like a lot of folks are drawn to it because, one, it makes us sore and we maybe think that that's better. But then also like it makes things hard and very burny. And we think that with those things that we're getting a better workout. But that's just not like those are not prerequisites to actually seeing progress, right? So
yeah, it's not going to happen. I think let's talk about this for a second. Maybe we have some listeners and they're in the gym, because I see this all the time, just in the gym setting. You see the same guy, same girl, they're doing the same movements with the same weight over and over. Nothing changes if nothing changes. So if, guys, you're in the gym, or like, what is progressive overload? How do you do it? How do you get over plateaus in strength? And how do you see progress there? We've talked about being sore. We've talked about the addition of protein in our diet in, episodes before. So I don't want to dive into like protein consumption. I can truly feel a difference in my body when I am hitting my protein metrics. But
well, Tyler, bro, how much protein do you take a day?
to be honest with you, I don't know. I just know when I'm eating enough, right? When I have like, a good breakfast, a good lunch, a good dinner, and a good I can feel that. But I had a conversation. I'm fishing right now a little bit as well, Cody. I had a conversation with a client last night. He's just like, Tyler, I'm in the gym and I'm working out and I'm doing the things and nothing is changing. And I was like, send me what you're doing. And I'm like, one, your mechanical tension is not there. Your volume is not there. When's the last time you went up in weight? He's like, like 6 months. What have you? So what's y'all's answer?
Got to give the body a reason to change.
Yes.
It's that stress. You got to give it that right dose of stress to where the body's like, hey, we got to do things a little different.
What is that old? And I don't even know if it's true or not. It's so old. It's like an ancient story where the guy carried a goat.
Milo of Croton.
Milo in the bull.
And I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he started with
on his shoulders.
Yeah. He started with this small calf, right? Or whatever you call him. I don't know. I'm not a animal person, but sorry. And so he carried this baby bull, right? He carried the bull up the mountain from a baby, and it was fairly easy. And as the bull got heavier and heavier and heavier, hundreds of pounds, 200 pounds, he could continuously carry it up because he was doing such a small increment over and over and over again. So to Cody's point, you've got to give the body a reason to change, even if it's just adding 5 pounds. Like we have little 2.5 pound plates in the gym for a reason. Like use those small increments, throw a band on, whatever the case may be, to add small extra resistance that you're not used to. And now we're doing your set of 10, but we're doing it at 5 extra pounds, or you have bands around your knees, or whatever the case may be while you do your set. So give your body a reason to change. It will not change unless you pretty much force it to change.
I think this will be maybe the most valuable 4 minutes of this episode.
That's my cuss word.
But Tyler, you bring up the most amazing example. And this is something that any trainer that's listening right now, when they go into the gym or they go to a training facility or whatnot, you do always see that guy, that gal, those people that are they're incredibly consistent, right? Painfully consistent. They always do the same thing. You have to change something. And Joseph brought up, you can add 5 pounds. Great. You can rest a little bit less in between your sets. This is my favorite. Just do an extra rep on each set. You're doing 3x10. Cool. Next week, do 3x11. Then do 3x12. And then when it starts getting really hard, go back down to 3x10, add 5 pounds, do it again. And the progress that you will see in terms of definition, strength, it's just if we could summarize, how do you see progress? That, right there that's predominantly largely responsible for it, right?
Take the example of someone that's never ran 2 miles. When they run 2 miles for the first time, we kind of talked about this a few episodes ago. When they run 2 miles the first time, it's hard. They continuously run it every day. In a few weeks, it's easier. In a few months, it's easier. However, then in 6 months, the responses they're getting from it are almost minimal. Heart rate is lower, exertion is lower, calories burned is lower, and your progress is slower, and you've plateaued. You've stopped losing weight. You've stopped doing all the things that you've wanted to do, reason why you started running 2 miles. Let's put that example in the gym. Let's go to bench press. All right. You put 135 on, 145 on each side, and you do it 10 times.
2 wheels.
2 wheels. First time you do it, 10 reps is hard, right? You do it a few days later, it's a little bit easier. You do it a few weeks, it's a little bit easier. If you continuously do that in 3 or 4 months, you are now eliciting 0 responses from that same exercise with that same weight in those same reps. So like you boys said, what are you changing? I get into this talk with myself a lot too, because we can talk about progressive overload, and that's surface level progressive overload on taking someone that's new or someone that's kind of stuck, plateau. Take someone that's we've been in the gym for a long time. You can't progressively overload for forever or else you're the strongest human ever, because the chart just keeps going. And I find this sometimes a struggle with my own training is it's 1, I don't have time. 2, I don't want to. 3, I'm not always in the mental state to go in there and really focus on lifting that much heavy of weight. And that takes a long time. But like, what do you say to someone? Okay, flip side, you've been in the gym for a long time. You have progressively overloaded. What is the next step? What is it?
Ooh, so a couple things. One, you definitely cannot mentally go into the gym and lift as heavy as possible every day and progressive overload every day. That's impossible. So I do think there will be some phases of plateaus, especially when you're year 2, 3, 4, 10 into your fitness journey. We know that progress slows down significantly. And I also don't think that we can stay mentally motivated at a single goal for that long. So, maybe it's like, I want to build my bench press and I want to get my bench press stronger. Well, you probably have a number in your head that you're searching for. Let's say it's 300 pounds. Once you get to 300 pounds, how much more motivated are you to go to 305 or 310 or 315? Maybe not that motivated at all. So you just stop that workout program and you start something new. And then maybe that's like back day heavy and you want to do 30 pull-ups, right? And so that's going to be different from your bench press. And then again, with progressive overload, you can't always progressive overload the entire body all the time. So we pick a focus, right? And so a lot of people will say, I want to work on my butt and legs. Okay, great. Like we'll put a primary focus on that, but you know what's going to happen? Your upper body is going to struggle, and so it might get a little bit weaker if we focus too much on it, on the lower body. And so then once we get our legs where they want, guess what we got to do? We got to shift gears and go to the upper body.
Yeah.
And when we shift gears, guess what happens? Your legs and lower body struggle. And so you just go back and forth.
It's so hard for me because I build all my personal workouts around powerlifting. And I always live in a phase of like one of the three being very strong when I want all three of them to be really strong. But I think I mentally focus on like, okay, I want deadlift. I want to get to this deadlift. And then because I'm concentrating on that, maybe I'm concentrating when I go into the gym more those weeks and months that I'm focused on it more, that the other two just immediately suffer. And that's probably me and my programming and all that. But I've never felt like I've been in a place where all three feel really good. Maybe one is really good, one is kind of good, and then one's like, but they're all three just not there. It's hard. It's mentally very hard to go into the gym all the time and get to that spot of lifting heavy, but you got to do things to elicit a response and see muscle growth.
I would, Tyler, I agree with you. And I think anybody that's been working out long enough, like you could throw a whole bunch of numbers out, but something like out of 10 workouts, one is going to feel awesome. And you're going to perform to the best of your capabilities. 5 of them, you're going to feel okay. And then the other 4 are
you're just happy to be there. You're just like, I'm glad I showed up.
Yeah. You're just going to show up. You're going to be grumpy about it. You're not going to be like crushing it. There's probably other things that you're going to want to do. And that's just kind of like, that's going to happen. But with that said, the encouraging thing is that you don't have to have 10 out of 10 perfect days in order to see amazing progress. Right. And so for people who've been doing this for a long time, not all of the workouts are going to be awesome, but you don't have to have 100% awesome workouts to see great results. So
today was a struggle for me. I went in there, boys. I had left pre-workout at home, left my headphones at home.
I would have turned around and went home.
I'm done. I'm out.
I'm done.
Y'all, it was me and my thoughts today. And it was like lower body day at the gym today. So it was like I had to fight through some mental barriers, but I got a solid 50 minutes in. I felt good about it when I left. I had to just get through the first 10 minutes. The first 10 minutes was the worst. I'm like, once I got through the first 10 minutes, I was like, okay, I'm sweating. I feel good now. Let's go. But it was, today was not a crush it day. It was like, I kind of just want to go home and eat some M&Ms or something.
Solid plan. So I get in those modes as well, where I'm like, man, I don't want to be here. And I'll tell you, whatever day you're on, whatever, upper body, lower body, push, pull, whatever you're doing, the first exercise, do all drop sets. I'm telling you. So
just ruin your life.
It sounds so weird. No, I promise you, it sounds so weird. So I did it the other day. I was working out with Coach Lane, who works with me. And I was like, hey man, we're doing chest today. I'm not in it. We're going to start with like machine chest press. So I can just pull the pin, and we're just going to do 4 drop sets right now. We're going to go light to heavier. And then we're going to go heavier, lighter. And then we're going to go back down and back up. And I was like, that's the only way I'm going to wake up. It is the only way. And I had a phenomenal workout. You just have to wake up your nervous system. Because if you're like, I'm going to do a set of 10 and then I'm going to scroll through TikTok and then I'm going to try to do another set of 10. I'm gonna scroll through, you'll never get in it. So I was like, hey, dude, I just got to kill it. I say that to also say the other day I walked in, I did like 3 exercises. I did like hyper extensions, non-weighted. I did like some hamstring curls and calf raises. And then I was like, I'm out of here. I was like, and so
I'm out.
Right. Like, and it's funny because I feel like new people, they expect that, like, or they have this stigma that all trainers or people in the gym all the time have great workouts over and over and over again. I literally was in the gym the other day for 25 minutes and was like, I'm out. This is dumb. Right. And you have those days, and I've been working out since probably 2005, so I don't know how many years that is, but for a long time, and we still have bad days. You're not going to win them all. You'll obviously have tools in your toolbox to wake you up, or you'll have tools in your toolbox to get you motivated, whether it's pre-workout, your music source. And I always tell people too, a cool thing to kind of wake you up is if you have the opportunity to go to a different gym or a different trainer, like change the environment. And it's like wildly motivating because you're like, oh, these people don't know me, and I've got to be on my P's and Q's and stuff. And so change the environment. If you're thinking you're going to have a bad day, go to a different gym, go to a different, CG workout, whatever the case may be.
I think people feel like trainers just crush every workout. And like you said, Cody, I crush 2 of 10, maybe 20% of workouts. Maybe that's on a good 10 days. So yeah, we are human as well. But the fact is just consistency. One question I want to ask Cody before we go into our questions is kind of like what we talked about before we hopped on, is like, we get the question a lot. Tyler, I want to be as strong as you, look like Joseph, look like Cody, whatever. Like, what do I do? And they think that, and I get this a lot from just like dudes. And I'm like, literally, I need you to focus for 2 to 3 years on strength training. As wild as that sounds, if you want to do this the right way, this is going to take years and a lifestyle change. Right, boys?
I am going to start a 3-year subscription.
Yeah.
And see how many people sign up for it.
If I could have someone for 3 years, 3 to 5 days a week, I could make you look like Superman. But that's the reality of it, is I need 2 to 3 years, depending on where you're at in your cycle of life of working out. If you're brand new, maybe longer. If you've been an athlete for a while and you know your way around a gym, it may not take us as long. But without help, enhancements, it's going to take you a little while to get there. So Cody, what are your thoughts on that one?
I think we're in a society right now where we like things to happen quickly. I like to hop on Grubhub and place a food order, and it shows up at my doorstep in a few minutes.
Oh man,
Amazon Prime, Twitter, like everything's quick, it's fast, it's concise. And that's one of the things that's so impressive about somebody that either has incredible performance or an incredible physique, or they're incredibly healthy, or what they balance all of those things, whatever, is there are no shortcuts. At least there's no shortcuts that are like legal, right? And so adjusting expectations more towards like that 2-year mark, 3-year mark plus. And that's when you're on point for a consistent period of time. Adjusting that direction instead of, I'm going to do this 21-day fix and I'm going to have my goal physique. That would make everybody's lives a lot easier. Be patient.
Yeah.
Have long game in mind.
And we're seeing this. I think y'all can both of y'all can probably agree, there's been this kind of like explosion of females in the gym getting really strong. It's awesome. I love to see it. This whole like booty phenomenon of like getting a nice butt, ladies, is like, it's leading y'all to deadlift and squat, Bulgarian split squat. And if you look at women lifting, one, y'all are never going to look like me, Cody, and Joseph. It's just biologically, physiologically it's not possible. So if I had any recommendation to women listening to this, is ladies, get as strong as you possibly can and eat well, and it will change your life 100%. The word tone, it don't exist. All right. You cannot tone a muscle without building a muscle. Toning a muscle is just being able to see that muscle more, which means you probably shaped it by dropping some body fat and getting stronger. That's what toning a muscle is. So this whole movement of women getting stronger is awesome to see. And y'all would probably say women get as strong as you possibly can, eat well, and it will change everything 100%.
And also there are some 1%ers out there of women that look very manly. 99.9% of the times that is not going to be you. So I know girls go to the gym and you see this one other female who just looks big, bodybuilder, vascular, dense shoulders. And you're like, I don't want to look like that. You won't. I like, it's fine. All right, let's let them do their thing. You're not going to look like that.
Joseph, you bring up a good point. What I would encourage, if a listener sees that person, I would encourage them, go get curious. Go ask them about like their life. Ask that person about how long they've been doing this. Ask that person about what their goals are. Like dig around a little bit in like a very nice, friendly, amicable way, but understand and then listen to like the answers that they give you. Guaranteed that individual has been doing this for a really long time. It's a part of their DNA. They live and breathe the fitness industry and whatnot. Those are, and like, hey, if that's your thing, great. If it's not your thing, great. But don't think that when you get under a bar in one wheel on hip thrusts or deadlifts that you will automatically turn into somebody who can enter a bodybuilding show that weekend. Like it just, I mean, here's Tyler talking about like, dude, give me 3 years and you'll be in a pretty good spot. Like it takes so long. And so if you're like, shoot, maybe I'm putting on too much muscle, you can slow it down a little bit, skip a day here or there, like
that's such a great thing right there. Like my education before I became a trainer, I just loved going to the gym. My education was observing all the dudes that were in really good shape in there, not the bodybuilders or whatever, but it's like, man, that dude can bench press a house. What is he doing besides bench press? That guy's legs, phenomenal. What is he doing? And it's just observing the people around you. And I promise you, if you're in a gym, in a Globo gym setting, those guys love to talk about working out. Go talk to them. They will love to tell you how much they deadlift, how much they squat, how much they bench, what they eat, all that. Go be curious. Like Cody said, go ask questions, consult a trainer, consult one of us, but don't just be a fly on the wall in that gym and observe everything. Like the guy that's big, he knows what he's doing because he's pretty big. All right. So learn that and look at that. I wanted to start ending some of these bad boys, these podcasts, with some questions. So we're going to do a couple questions real quick. Cody has down, and we'll put a bow on this bad boy after these.
Yeah. So we're going to wrap up episode 4. It's been a pleasure chatting with you guys. But the way that we're going to wrap up the episode is I have some questions that I have been asked in passing in my everyday life from clients that pertain to health and fitness and nutrition and training and whatnot. So how this is going to work, it's going to be rapid fire. It's going to be quick. It's going to be succinct and to the point. I will ask a question or I'll bring up a topic. Joseph will have 30 seconds. And this is a hard 30 seconds. Tyler, you will have 30 seconds and it's a hard 30 seconds. Tyler, actually, maybe you should just hand over host privileges to me. So if you continue past 30 seconds, I just mute you. Does anybody want to go first?
Hit me, baby.
Let's go.
Okay, Joseph, I had and by the way, I'll hand it over to you and then we'll start the timers. Okay. I had a client not too long ago. And this individual asked, electrolyte supplements. Should I be taking it? Will it help me? What do I need to know? 3, 2, 1, go.
Season your food better, drink more water.
Great.
Electrolyte supplements. I mean, yeah, I think if
Tyler,
I mean that was piss poor, Joseph. It's not who can answer it faster, Joseph. You have 30 seconds to answer it. Your knowledge, so you don't ramble, you dummy.
Sorry, I'm new here. Can I go again?
Fired.
Get him out. Kick him out.
Well, I couldn't even hear your
by the
answer.
way,
What was your
that
answer?
took 2 seconds at 2
Is
2 seconds and 8.
well, I can't beat that because I can't answer it faster.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
dude.
I said,
What did you actually say, Joseph?
Okay.
I only caught like water.
I said, season your food better and drink more water. Electrolytes means salts. We've got sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium, like, right? Anything that essentially ends with an eum, which is pretty much what all of your seasonings are made out of. Put it. Oh, my timer. Season your food better. Fun fact, your food also has natural electrolytes inside of them, right? And so food has plenty of electrolytes. If you are not cramping, if you are not massively sweating, if you are not losing pounds of water weight a day, you probably don't need an electrolyte supplement. However, electrolyte supplement is a helpful tool to help you get more water in. If you struggle with drinking enough water, use electrolytes to taste your water better and drink more water.
Yeah. Well
That was
done. That
great.
was so much better, Joseph. That
That
was
was
so
way
much
better.
Thank
Thank
I
you,
would
Joseph.
I would add on to that. I would say the
Tyler,
exact
3, 2,
same
1.
thing. 3, 2, 1. I would say the exact same thing that Joseph said is it's just salt. It's everything that ends in eum. If you're experiencing a cramp, whether that be in your workout, during a game, something, it's too late. The ship has sailed in order to get that to stop unless you put an IV in you. So making sure you're hydrated the days before, because there's a saturation level of hydration. So doing that weeks before, days before, to make sure you are hydrated. Other than that, in the acute stage, it is worthless. I did that right on 30. I said worthless on 30. It is right there. That was good.
You guys are good. Joseph, it's fine. The first one's a little rough.
I got nervous, performance anxiety, all that good stuff.
You redeemed yourself. Okay.
Not the first time you heard that.
Another question. This is going to be hard for y'all to stay within 30 seconds. Tyler, I'm going to go with you because Joseph needs to collect his thoughts on this. Uh-oh. Tyler, I heard fruit has a lot of sugar in it. Should I not eat fruit? 3, 2, 1 on the clock.
You should eat fruit. Anyone that tells you should not eat fruit, you need to run from, whether that be your doctor or your trainer, because monkeys live off of fruit pretty heavily. And I think we're pretty closely related to bananas, or monkeys that eat a lot of bananas. We're not related to bananas. Did you know all bananas are clones of each other? Fun fact, learned that in college. So fruit is not bad for you in the slightest bit. Eat it all. I ended right on 30.
Cut him off. You're done. You're done. Joseph, 3, 2, 1, begin.
Yes, fruit is 100% sugar. A couple types of sugar, those fructose and glucose. Okay, fructose has actually been proven to be really good for you and not have the same effects on your blood sugar as glucose. Fun fact. Second fun fact, fruit is also a lot of vitamins and minerals and a lot of water. So you need those vitamins and minerals. Would you rather take a multivitamin every day or eat more strawberries? I choose eat more strawberries. All righty. So a lot of water, very low in calories respective to their weight and size. So do not worry about calories. Don't worry about the sugar. Eat the fruit. Go.
Oh, he went to 31 seconds. I won that one.
This is still good. Food. This is still good. Are you guys good for one more?
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, one more.
One more. Okay.
One more. We're putting a bow on it.
Final question. Regards to protein. Hey, I heard once I finish my workout, I have a 30-minute window to eat my protein. Is this accurate? 3, 2, 1, go.
Your 30-minute window of protein is not going to outweigh 23 hours and 30 minutes of crappy dieting. So you should probably figure out the other 23 hours and 30 minutes before you worry about the 30 minutes after your workout. Done. 15 seconds.
Yeah, I don't have. Long ago they thought that there was this 1 hour golden window after a workout. Research has proven over and over again that 1 hour window basically doesn't exist. If you could get it in within within that 1 hour, cool. It means you're getting your protein in. Most research shows that, getting protein synthesis turns on around like 20-25 grams of protein per meal. So I think spreading that out throughout the day of 3, 4, 5 times a day, having some before you go to bed is optimally way better than worrying about this 30-minute window, 1 hour window that does not exist.
Gentlemen, well done. That was
everybody. Put it in the comments. Who answered the questions better, Tyler? Or
yes. Clearly, Tyler. So yeah, thanks, gentlemen. Thanks, boys. That was awesome. Episode number 4. We'll think of a title later on, but hey, throw in the comment guys section what you thought about it, what you like, maybe some ideas you have for some more podcasts coming up. We have a million ideas, but we want to talk about the things that y'all want us to talk about and not just get up here and talk about things we want to talk about. But if it pertains to nutrition, fitness, health, all that good stuff, we would love to hear your comments. So like, subscribe. We will see you soon. Cody, Joseph, any parting words before we get out of here, boys?
If you have any questions that you want us to ask during the Twitter round, the lightning round,
that was really
fire
fun.
away. Let us know. We'd love to hear the topics you want us to talk about in 30 seconds or less.
30 seconds or less. Ladies and gentlemen, it was a pleasure. Y'all have a good evening. Go eat well, live well, and we will see y'all later.